penance is something that's completely part of our life. And you got to think, if you don't see it in our church today, if you don't see it in your own family and in your own life, that's something to really ask questions about. Are we doing what Catholics are supposed to do? Call down the mercy of God through our penance. The violent take heaven by storm. And the violence is our penance. It's our reparation. St. John says if anybody says they're not a sinner, they're a liar. So none of us can say we don't have to do penance. There just isn't any of us that can say that. Even if you, by the grace of God, and hopefully everybody in here is on that path, you haven't confessed a mortal sin in a long time, that's wonderful. But you got to remember, it would be better that I think even St. Teresa said it would be better to destroy the entire universe than commit a venial sin. We're not to commit venial sins. We don't say, well, it's light matter. No, it's offensive to God. God created everything, and he didn't create it saying, well, I'll give them room to do things that aren't as bad. No, they're not as bad because it doesn't rupture our complete relationship with him, right? But they're bad, and they have to be repaired. And if the whole world's full of venial sins, then we deserve, and only venial sins, we deserve to be punished for it, right? We deserve to be punished for it. We have to get away from this idea that a venial sin is just not a big deal. You know, I can lie if it's going to save somebody's life, right? It's only a venial sin. I can take this little thing because it's really not that important to that person, right? And I can use it for somebody else. We can't commit evil to do good. When is it that we Catholics stopped? We stopped being willing to die for the love of God. That's when we became secular. When we started to flow right along in the current of the world, we stopped thinking that God was that important, because we started saying, oh, he understands, doesn't he? And he does. He understands that you could give a care less about heaven because you made him into a teddy bear. Well, God just isn't a teddy bear. He's not a teddy bear. No matter what you think he is or how much you say he's a teddy bear and you want to think he's a teddy bear, he just isn't. Even if we all believe he's a teddy bear, it doesn't make God a teddy bear. Because even if everybody goes to hell, God's justice will still be glorified, right? He doesn't need anybody to go to heaven, but we need to go to heaven because we don't want to go to hell. So we want to talk about that, kind of to get us back on track, just a reflection and thinking about the importance of these things. And you already know the stuff I'm saying anyways. It's just that we forget about it because we live in such a soft culture. It's an effeminate culture. That's what those phones are. Those phones are sheer effeminacy. Because in that phone, I have everything I need. It makes life easier, right? I know what the weather's going to be, though it's always wrong. At least I feel like I know. You know? I got this talk, I got that song, I got everybody's number memorized. That is important because, it's hard. Our brains don't work anymore because of the phone, so we need to have something to remember our phone numbers with. I can text somebody just like that. I can get information back to me just like that. I can find out what the store has just like that, and I don't even have to go there and check because I already checked it on the phone, right? It's effeminacy. And so when we start getting softer and softer and softer, looking for more luxury, more convenience, we start to complain about things that are just normal before. Before, you had to go outside to go to the bathroom. You had... And that wasn't that long ago. I remember my mom still talking about, they were late to get plumbing in the house. They had a really small house, but they had, I can't remember how many children were in that family. It was my mom's family. But it was like 7, 8 children, 2-room house. You live in a 2-room house with all those children. Now, everybody's got to have their own room. You still have to have a guest room. You got to have a big grand sitting room, and you got to have the fireplace, but the air conditioning. You want to play them both at the same time. This is kind of the environment we live in. But they would have to, on bath day, they would have to heat all the water up on the little tiny stove that they had, and then they would have to pour it into a big galvanized tub that they brought into the kitchen, which was a really small kitchen, and the tub probably took up the whole room, and you had to pour pot after pot after pot inside the tub, and everybody had to get a bath. So the last one taking the bath is in dirty water. Right? Yeah, and nobody complained about it because it's just what you did. I got to get my bath even if it's dirty water. It's just what you do. Now, you're mad because you don't have 3 showers in the house and you've got to wait for 3 minutes. You know it's true. It's just the way it is. So what we need to do is we need to kind of turn our perspective a little bit and we need to start seeking out inconvenience.